Fiancée choked the black housekeeper to silence her. But her toddler's one brave phone call exposed the billionaire's fiancé's dark secret. A jaw-dropping, true crime-style story of betrayal, a calculated murder plot, a secret gold digger scheme, and a fearless 3-year-old toddler who saved her mother's life in the most incredible way. Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, you're stepping into a space dedicated to real, raw, emotional, and unforgettable real-life stories. The kind that give you chills, tug at your heartstrings, and make you think long after the video ends. These are dramatic tales filled with shocking twists, deep heartbreak, incredible courage, and powerful life lessons. Before we jump into today's story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? Drop your country flag or city name in the comments below. We genuinely love seeing our global family from all over the world tuning in and supporting these stories. This particular story is hands down one of the most intense, emotional, and edge-of-your-seat stories we have ever shared on this channel. It involves a wealthy, self-made businessman whose life seemed perfect on the surface, a seemingly loving fiancée hiding a sinister and deadly secret, a loyal and observant housekeeper who noticed every red flag, and most amazingly, a brave little 3-year-old toddler who became the ultimate hero when it mattered most. Stay with us until the very end because the twist, the confrontation, and the emotional resolution will leave you absolutely speechless. If you love true crime stories mixed with family drama, betrayal, and heartwarming heroism, this one is for you. Thomas Reyes, 43 years old, was a true self-made success story. He had started his logistics company years ago with nothing but one old delivery van and an unstoppable work ethic. Through pure discipline, long hours, and smart decisions, he grew it into a powerful fleet operating across 4 different states. His impressive brick colonial home stood proudly at the end of a quiet, upscale street in a beautiful suburb outside Charlotte, North Carolina. It was the kind of peaceful neighborhood where American flags flew on porches, lawns were always neatly trimmed, neighbors greeted each other warmly on Sunday mornings, and everything appeared ideal from the outside looking in. Yet behind those walls, Thomas carried a heavy emotional burden. 3 years earlier, his beloved mother had passed away after living with him for many years. The house, once filled with the comforting aroma of home-cooked Sunday dinners and the sound of her favorite daytime TV shows playing a bit too loud, had become painfully silent. Thomas wasn't a man who openly discussed his grief. Instead, he buried himself deeper into work, leaving home before sunrise and often returning well after dark. The loneliness crept in slowly, filling every empty room like a heavy fog. That silence and emptiness began to change when Ava Bennett entered his life. Ava was a 40-year-old widow, strong, resilient, and raising her young 3-year-old daughter Ella all by herself after losing her husband in a tragic car accident when Ella was just a baby. Hired as Thomas's live-in housekeeper a little over a year ago, Ava quickly transformed the household. She was reliable, incredibly sharp, endlessly patient, and brought back a sense of warmth, order, and smooth daily rhythm that the big house had been missing. She noticed little details others overlooked, a leaking faucet before it became a problem, an incoming storm before the weather app warned, or when the mail carrier was running late. Little Ella, who had her mother's watchful and intelligent eyes, moved through the house like a quiet little shadow. For a 3-year-old, she had an unusually calm and observant nature. She didn't babble constantly like many toddlers. Instead, she watched, listened, absorbed, and remembered far more than most adults ever realized. Because Thomas worked such demanding hours, Ava and Ella were the ones who spent the most time inside the home day after day. They knew every creak in the floorboards, every routine, and eventually they began noticing things about the newest resident that Thomas himself was completely blind to. Her name was Harper Lang. Harper was 29 years old, strikingly beautiful, with long flowing hair, a bright smile, and a magnetic charm that made any room feel instantly warmer when she entered. Thomas had met her at a major business conference in Atlanta. She introduced herself as an event coordinator, praised his dedication and success, and spent hours listening attentively over drinks late into the night. Lonely and grieving, Thomas fell hard and fast. Within just 4 months, Harper had moved into the beautiful colonial home. Within 7 months, a sparkling diamond engagement ring was on her finger. To Thomas, Harper seemed like the answer to his prayers. Warm, affectionate, endlessly supportive of his long workdays. She packed thoughtful lunches for him, sent sweet, loving texts throughout the day, and greeted him at the door every evening with a glass of wine and a caring ear. It felt like the perfect fresh start he desperately needed after years of loneliness. But Ava saw an entirely different side of Harper the moment Thomas's car left the driveway each morning. The warning signs the housekeeper couldn't ignore. The second Thomas was gone, Harper's warm, sweet personality vanished like a switch had been flipped. Her voice turned sharp, cold, and clipped during hushed phone conversations in the garden. She constantly glanced over her shoulder, paranoid about being watched. Unfamiliar men started showing up more frequently, especially one lean, sharp-featured man who always wore the same gray jacket, no matter the weather. He would park down the block and meet Harper in the side garden, hidden behind tall hedges that blocked most views, except from one specific laundry room window that Ava passed every single day. Ava also noticed that in over 5 months of living under the same roof, Harper had never asked her or Ella a single personal question. Not about her late husband, not about Ella's well-being, nothing. To Harper, the housekeeper and her child were simply invisible staff. Minor inconvenience. Ella, who was normally a curious and friendly child, began actively avoiding Harper. She stuck close to her mother's side whenever Harper was around and would flinch or pull away from any attempt at affection. One particular incident stood out. When Harper reached out to gently smooth Ella's hair in front of Thomas, the little girl recoiled so hard she nearly knocked over a nearby lamp. Thomas laughed it off as normal toddler shyness, but Ava's motherly instinct screamed that something was deeply wrong. Ava kept a careful mental list of every suspicious behavior, but stayed mostly silent at first. How could she accuse her boss's fiancé without concrete proof? She tried speaking to Thomas twice. The first time she lost her nerve when she saw how exhausted he looked. The second time, Thomas became defensive, insisting the man in the gray jacket was just helping with wedding plans and warned Ava not to spread rumors. So Ava kept her head down, continued her work, protected her daughter, and watched everything quietly. Until one warm, seemingly ordinary Tuesday afternoon in early summer, when everything violently exploded. The murder plot that was almost perfect. Thomas had left for the office before 7 a.m., fully immersed in the final week of closing a major business merger. He casually told Harper he would likely be home very late that night. The moment his car disappeared down the street, Harper's entire demeanor shifted from loving fiancé to cold and calculating. Ava was folding laundry in the adjacent room, with Ella quietly playing at her feet when she overheard Harper on a phone call in the kitchen. The words Harper spoke sent ice through Ava's veins. It has to happen this week. He's finalizing the merger on Friday, which means the new life insurance policy goes into effect Thursday night. After that, it'll be clean and simple. Just an unfortunate accident for a stressed, overworked man. No suspicion. No complications at all. Ava's heart nearly stopped. This was no innocent surprise or business discussion. Harper and her accomplice were meticulously planning to murder Thomas for his wealth, assets, and life insurance payout, staging it as a tragic accident. Terrified, Ava scooped up Ella and tried to quietly escape through the back hallway to call for help. But Harper stepped out at the worst possible moment. One look at Ava's pale, panicked face told her that her deadly secret had been discovered. "You heard everything, didn't you?" Harper said in a terrifyingly calm, low voice that was far more frightening than any shout. Before Ava could even respond or run, Harper lunged forward with shocking speed and strength. She grabbed Ava by the throat, slammed her hard against the hallway wall, and began choking her violently with both hands, determined to silence her forever. Ava desperately clawed at Harper's wrists, gasping and fighting for every breath as her vision started blurring at the edges. In that horrifying life or death moment, with her mother being attacked right in front of her. 3-year-old Ella's calm, observant personality transformed into pure, fierce action. The heroic toddler who saved her mother's life. Little Ella didn't scream or freeze in terror like many adults might have. Instead, her quiet intelligence and watchful nature kicked into survival mode. She slipped away quietly on her small hands and knees, staying out of Harper's line of sight. She pushed a kitchen chair against the counter, something she had practiced watching her mother do, climbed up, grabbed the cordless phone with her tiny shaking hands, and pressed the familiar worn speed dial button for Thomas. The phone rang 3 times before he answered, distracted in the middle of his busy workday. "Daddy Thomas." Ella's small, trembling but clear voice came through. "Harper is hurting Mommy. She's hurting her really bad. She can't breathe. Please come home. Please come home." Thomas's entire world stopped. The terror in that little girl's voice sent a chill down his spine like nothing he had ever experienced. He immediately dropped everything, sprinted out of his office, and raced home at breakneck speed, breaking multiple speed limits and running red lights. He turned what should have been a 15-minute drive into less than 9 minutes, his hands gripping the steering wheel white-knuckled, praying he wouldn't be too late. Back at the house, Ava, fueled by pure maternal adrenaline and terror for her daughter, managed one powerful, desperate move. She kneed Harper hard, broke free momentarily, and positioned herself protectively between Harper and the kitchen. The two women continued struggling fiercely in the narrow hallway, knocking framed photos off the walls and sending glass shattering across the floor. Ava's strength was fading fast from the choking and the fight, but she refused to give up. Then, the unmistakable sound of screeching tires erupted from the driveway. Thomas burst through the front door with explosive force. The scene that greeted him would be burned into his memory forever. Harper standing over Ava with wild hair and furious eyes, hands still raised aggressively, while Ava lay bruised and gasping on the floor with dark purple marks already forming around her throat. Harper instantly switched back to her sweet persona. "Thomas, thank God you're here. She attacked me first. I was only defending myself." But Thomas wasn't fooled for even a second. He had witnessed the horrifying truth with his own eyes. Justice, healing, and a new beginning. Police officers and paramedics arrived shortly after. Once Ava recovered enough to speak, she told them every single detail she had observed over the months. The secret meetings, the suspicious phone calls, the man in the gray jacket, the push to change life insurance, and the cold-blooded murder plan. Harper was arrested immediately for assault. Investigators also began pursuing additional charges related to conspiracy and attempted fraud. As she was being let out in handcuffs, Harper turned back one final time and shot Ava and little Ella a look filled with pure venom. "This isn't over. Watch yourself, and that little girl of yours too." In the weeks and months that followed, Thomas took massive steps to protect his family. He installed a state-of-the-art security system, quietly restructured his finances and assets so they could never be touched, and legally ensured Harper could never come anywhere near his home, Ava, or Ella again. He sat down with Ava and offered a heartfelt, sincere apology for not listening to her concerns earlier. Today, Thomas, Ava, and Ella are slowly rebuilding something beautiful, a real family based on genuine trust, honesty, care, and the unforgettable courage shown by one tiny 3-year-old girl who knew exactly what to do when no one else could help. Little Ella's bravery is a powerful reminder to us all. Sometimes the smallest voices in the room are the ones telling the biggest truths, and sometimes all it takes is one brave choice, even from a child, to change everything. Now tell me in the comments, what part of this story affected you the most? Was it the terrifying choking attack? Ella's incredibly brave phone call? Thomas finally opening his eyes? Or Harper's shocking true colors at the end? Did you see the twist coming? Or were you completely surprised? Would you have spoken up sooner if you were in Ava's position? Share your honest thoughts below. We read and appreciate every single comment. If this powerful story of a gold-digging fiancé, family betrayal, a brutal attack, and a heroic toddler touched you deeply, please smash that like button, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Share this video with friends or family members who need a reminder to always trust their gut instincts and listen to the quiet people around them. More recommended searches for similar content. Fiancée murder plot exposed. Toddler saves mom from choking. Brave child hero stories. Housekeeper survives deadly attack. True crime stories 2026. Family betrayal revenge. Billionaire fiancé gold digger scam. Emotional real-life drama. Shocking betrayal stories. Thank you so much for watching, friend. Stay safe out there. Always trust your instincts, protect the ones you love, and we'll see you in the next powerful story. Red Heart.